Welcome back to High Stakes. Today, we will be discussing the following NBA matches that is happening on Thursday, October 26th, 2023. We will be providing our team, total, and prop picks for the day. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If you want access to our premium picks, you can check out our Patreon page. You can find the link to our Patreon page in the description and comment section below. Syracuse versus Virginia Tech. With a win in their last game, the Hokies have already surpassed their ACC win total from a year ago. They bounced back nicely after getting their heads handed to them by number 5 Florida State. Versus Wake Forest, they managed 462 yards, with Kieran Drones throwing for a season-high 321 yards. The sophomore QB also ran for 59 yards in the game. On the year, Drones has thrown for 1,042 yards and 6 touchdowns and has rushed for 344 yards and 4 touchdowns. 3 times this season, he has led Virginia Tech's offense in passing and rushing. The Virginia Tech defense is giving up 24.7 points, 11th in the ACC, and 341.6 total yards per game, 7th in the conference. They've fared better versus the pass, ranking 1st in the ACC, allowing just 169.4 yards per game by air, the 8th best mark in the country. Helping their cause against the pass has been the pressure they've gotten against the opposing QB, recording 22 sacks, tied for most in the conference. Antoine Powell-Ryland is tied for 4th in the country with 7 solo sacks, and his 9.5 tackles for loss are second most in the ACC. These teams are meeting for the first time since 2021. Syracuse, with a 3-3-1 record against the spread, holds an 11-8 advantage in their historical matchups and has come out on top in both of the last 2 meetings, both in terms of outright wins and covering the point spread. In their recent games, both teams faced Florida State, with the Hokies, who are 4-3 ATS, performing slightly better against the top 5 Seminoles, even though they still suffered a 39-17 defeat. In ACC play, Syracuse has struggled, averaging a mere 8 points over 3 games, and their starting quarterback has only managed to throw for an average of 133 passing yards in the team's last 3 matches. Now, they face the ACC's top-ranked passing defense, which poses a formidable challenge. On the other hand, the Hokies' offense is gaining significant momentum, averaging 28.3 points in their 3 ACC matchups, with Drones averaging 217.7 passing yards. Thanks to his versatile skills, Syracuse's defense is likely to struggle to keep up. Consider taking the Hokies with the point spread. The Orange started very strong, rattling off 4 straight wins before they hit their ACC schedule. Since then, it's been all downhill, their last 2 losses coming against number 14 North Carolina and number 4 Florida State, respectively, as they were outscored 81-10. Against the Seminoles, the Orange offense managed just 261 yards and only 137 via pass. Starting quarterback Garrett Schrader went 9-21 for 99 yards before being pulled for what Coach Dino Babers said was food poisoning-related issues. The Q's QB is 8th in the ACC with 1,371 passing yards, and his 8 TD passes rank 9th in the conference. Sophomore running back LaQuint Allen ran for 110 yards versus Florida State, his 3rd 100-yard game of the season. His 511 rushing yards are 4th most in the ACC. On the defensive end, the 41 points allowed in their last game were the most this season. They have allowed 22.1 points, 7th in the ACC, and 380.7 yards per game, 11th in the conference. They have the worst pass defense in the ACC, giving up 255.7 yards per game. The defense was 5th in the conference with 20 sacks, Leon Lawrence leading the team with 3.5. This is an obtainable total, but in order to get there, we will need Syracuse to step up on the offensive end. They have had 6 of their 7 games land under this season, but 4 of their games had a total of 47 points and 2 others each had 45. So, they aren't far off, and the bye week gives their offense a chance to rest and reset, as well as game plan. I do expect them to take to the ground in this game, where they can get their best advantage. On the other side, I very much expect the Hokies' offense to put up big numbers. If they can put 38 points on Pitt, who ranks 4th in the ACC in total defense, they should do at least the same against a soft Syracuse side. Take the over. Next we have Georgia State versus Georgia Southern. The Eagles put the game away with under 2 minutes remaining when they stretched their 3-point lead to 10 and made it a 2-possession game. The offense rolled in the first half, putting up a 24-point second quarter where lead-back Jalen White tallied both of his scores. Georgia Southern was outgained offensively but won the third down battle to allow the chains to keep moving. The defense came away with 6 sacks and 2 interceptions. Georgia Southern comes into this game averaging 32 points per game, which is good for 30th in the country. The Eagles have scored 38 points or more in 3 of their last 4 contests and demonstrated their ability to put up points in a hurry when they put up 3 scores in the second quarter alone last week. The offense has been very pass-heavy, which has helped them generate upwards of 445 yards per contest. The ability for the Eagles to move the ball through the air has helped them tremendously on third downs. Georgia Southern sits 8th in the country on third down conversion rate as they move the sticks on 53% of their tries. This success hasn't been quite as effective in the red zone, with the scoring rate dropping to 83.3%, but this is still top 70 in the country. Davis Bryn sits at the helm, under center, and he's been good, not great. His touchdown-to-interception ratio of 14-11 is far too low to feel comfortable with him airing it out 50 times per game, on average. Even with his top 30 completion rate, his interception rate is considerably high given the amount of dropbacks he takes. With right around 28 carries per game, the Eagles run the ball at one of the lowest rates in the country. White has demonstrated his explosiveness, and he's averaging 5.9 yards per tote. There's little reason to think Georgia Southern will abandon the passing attack here, but White should be able to answer the call when need be. On the defensive side of the football, Georgia Southern is allowing 28.3 points per game, which lands them at 82nd in the country. The Eagles have allowed 28 points or more in 3 straight contests, but the defense has pulled through at key moments. The Eagles allow 5.9 yards per play, which is actually more than their high-flying offense generates, but they have been rock solid on third downs. Georgia Southern is allowing opponents to move the sticks at just a 32.9% rate, which is good for 28th in the country. It'll be paramount for the Eagles to get stops on third downs here because their red zone defense has folded like a cheap suit. On average, opponents are coming away with 6 or more on 88% of their trips inside the 20s, which lands the defense at 95th in America. The Eagles haven't been run on all that much this season, though we should expect that to change here given the ground-heavy attack of Georgia State. When forced to keep the ball on the ground, the Eagles are holding them to 3.7 yards per rush and just 109 total rushing yards per contest. Through the air, they've been serviceable. The defensive line has been disruptive in the backfield and is coming off a 6-sack performance. Opposing quarterbacks have completed right over 61% of their throws and are tallying over 290 yards per game. The average completion depth of 8.0 yards is concerning as the Eagles have shown they can give up the big play over the top. Granger has been an accurate QB thus far this season, and he has the potential to pick apart this secondary. The Eagles are likely to find success in advancing the ball against the Panthers, whose secondary isn't particularly impressive. Additionally, the Eagles' defensive line has the capability to disrupt plays in the backfield, making it challenging for Georgia State if they are forced to rely on passing. Georgia Southern has maintained its effectiveness on third downs, and the longer their offense stays on the field, the greater the likelihood of a significant breakthrough play. On the other hand, Georgia State's running game may encounter significant resistance, as the Eagles typically allow fewer than 110 yards per game on average. With Georgia Southern's strong third down defense, the Panthers could end up with numerous short drives. Keep an eye out for the Eagles to secure a victory on their home turf. Consider betting on Georgia Southern with a -1.5-point spread. It's hard to have any validation on an under when the team with the highest pass rate in the country is on the field. Along with the high pass rate, Georgia Southern has been able to move the sticks on third down and have scored at least 38 in 3 of their last 4 games, breaking off explosive quarters in each. Likewise, Georgia State has generated over 30 in 3 of their last 5. Georgia Southern has struggled mightily in the red zone, and their secondary is susceptible to giving up the big play over the top, particularly with the accuracy we've seen from Granger this season. I expect both offenses to go back and forth here, and with the air raid from Georgia Southern, it could turn into a shootout. Take over 62.5.